I literally dropped everything like 2 seconds before I hit the record button, and I am not in view. Let's start that over. Hey, hello, how's it going, my writing friends? It's early. Well, it's early for me anyways. I have just been responding to some YouTube comments, drinking my coffee, eating some cereal, and you guys will never know how much joy I get from reading your comments on my videos and interacting with you guys in the comments. It makes me so happy. Sometimes it takes me a little while to respond, and don't think that I'm ignoring you. It's just, I like to sit down, fully read your comments, and then respond. So it always takes me, I feel like, a little bit of time to respond, but it's because, you know, I want it to be heartfelt and you guys take the time to watch my video and to comment on it, and I feel like I want to give you guys that same respect in return in my responses. So I have one more comment and then I'm completely caught up with everything. Today I'm very excited. I do have a little bit of a writing session later tonight with Kayla. We're going to meet up and do some writing sprints together. So I would like to do a little bit of writing before then, like maybe one writing session for about 30 minutes or maybe an hour, but I really do want to save a lot of my writing for later tonight. So we'll see how that goes. It's a pretty steady day. I would like to finish editing my YouTube video as well. This one is going to be going up on Friday, which is before this video that you guys are going to be seeing more about my writing and how I'm feeling about it and everything. I'm going to show on the screen a little snippet of my tracker that is from the NaNoWriMo website. On the screen, you'll see that's my progress so far in the month of April. Pretty sporadic writing, but I am not disappointed in it. I knew that that's how it was gonna go, except for last week. I wanted to do a little bit more writing and make a little bit more progress than what I did, but I'm not too torn up about it because I still have plenty of time. I think 10 days it depends how many days are in August. Yeah, there's 30 days. And so today's the 20th. So I still have 10 days to hit my goal. And in the NaNoWriMo website, I have my high goal of 15,000 words, but I did set a low goal of 10,000 words. We're aiming for 10,000 and I think I'm a little above 3,000 now. Ooh, almost spilled my coffee. I'm enjoying the writing that I'm doing. So I'm a little I think the manuscript total, I think, is a little more than 7,000 words. It's between 7,000 and 8,000 words. And I'm 4 chapters in. I just introduced, in this last chapter, one of my favorite characters. If you watched my plotting vlogs, I can't remember which one. I think it's the second one now that I'm thinking about it. But in that video, I had mentioned that I picked the wrong main character. And so I switched one of my secondary characters and made her my main character, and then the person that I had as my main character, now they're the secondary character. Well, I just introduced this character, and boy, does she just, I'm in love with her. She is the best character, even though she's still the secondary character. The story, it wouldn't have worked from her point of view, or at least the story that I'm trying to tell. Who knows? Maybe in 3 drafts, she'll be the main character again. I just introduced this character and I really love the way I had introduced her. So she is a shapeshifter. So she obviously shapeshifts, right? And there's a certain animal that she shapeshifts into. So she'd been kind of spying on my group of characters for the first 3 chapters, and then they were all kind of running around trying to figure out what they were going to do, how they were going to help the main character. You know that meme of SpongeBob running back and forth everywhere like a crazy person? That's like pretty much what was happening. So then she was just kind of chilling in the windowsill because she is the type of shapeshifter that flies. I just love how she just interjected herself into the situation and was just like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe you should step aside and let another shapeshifter deal with this. And I just love her so much. That's a writing update, a very long writing update about everything that's been happening. But I want to update you guys a little bit later, chat a little bit more about my writing. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Hang in there. It'll be a good one. I'm feeling good about this vlog, so I'll see you throughout it. It's a few hours later, and I did a little bit of video editing that you did not see because I did not give you any B-roll. And then I decided to get out of the house and I went shopping, like clothes shopping, not grocery shopping, not errands. I went shopping and bought myself some new clothes. And it's been a very long time since I've done that. And then I stopped at Goodwill because sometimes you guys, they have the cutest clothes, name brand clothes for like $2. So how can you refuse? But also I love to go through their book selection. Sometimes they have really good books. Other times they don't really have any books, but this time they did have some books. And I just wanted to show you guys, I bought 4 books from Goodwill and they were 99 cents each. So awesome. And then one of these books was actually on my wish list on Amazon. I am super excited. So the first one is Holes. It's the iconic Holes movie from like, I think 20 years ago now, to be totally honest. But it was one of my favorite movies as a kid and I've never read the book. So here we go. This is the one that was on my Amazon wish list, and this one is The Spy and the Traitor, the greatest espionage story of the Cold War by Ben McIntyre. I'm not really sure what it's about. Like, I don't remember, but I remember I had saved it because it was something that I found really interesting, something I wanted to dive into, but I can't remember what it's about right now. The next one is a Margaret Atwood book, and it's, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, maybe? Oryx and Crake. I have read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I have mixed feelings about the book, but I really wanted to try one of her other books. Hopefully this one, I haven't done research on it. I just found it, saw Margaret Atwood, bought it for 99 cents. And then the last one, guys, don't come for me. I have actually never read this book. I didn't read it when it was super popular. I think when I was in middle school. I've never watched the movie because I knew I was a very emotional child, okay? And I don't think I would have been able to handle it at that age. I'm a little bit older. I have experience in life, so I feel like I'll be able to read it. It's The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I'm really excited to get wrecked by this one, so I hope to read this one soon. I know the story, but I haven't read it, and I feel like I want to read it to experience that, you know, to experience that love and loss with the rest of the world. Those are the 4 books that I bought, 99 cents each, so it was like less than $5, well, plus taxes, so then it was probably like 12. All of today's updates have been from my office, but I have not just been restricted. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not restricted. I have not just been held captive. Why does that word also not sound correct? Anyways, I haven't just been in my room the entire time. I did all of the errands, not errands, I did all of the shopping that I wanted to do today. I have a little bit of time before I'm going to be meeting with Kayla. Now, today was supposed to be a little bit more productive than it was. Am I mad about it? No, because I feel like I needed a shopping day, even though tomorrow I will also be doing like a shopping day with my mom, but not a clothes shopping. I'm gonna get a few more books and I'm very excited about it. I want to talk a little bit more about writing. So let me move you so I can get my notes. I want to talk about what exactly I've been focusing on in this first draft. So I think some people would probably call this a draft 0, while some people would probably call it a draft 1. I feel like that's open to interpretation. What you would call a first draft might not be what I call first draft or 0 draft or whatever. Just going into this saying that you might consider the 0 draft totally cool. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm calling it my first draft. For this first draft, I feel like what I've been mainly focusing on are the points in my plot grid here that has the sunlight shining on it. What I've been focusing on are all of these points in my plot grid. If something comes up that could be a plot hole, or if it's maybe something that's not exactly fleshed out, like something that has to do with the magic system, that's something that has to do with limitations, or maybe something that has to do with the character, like what are their quirks, what are their weaknesses, things like that. I've created a separate document that has those questions, and if I come up with an idea or something, it goes in that document, and I think I have it listed as ideas or problems I've come across writing the first draft. I hit the highlights with the plot grid, and I do have some notes that are in my journal that I keep for this project as well. Those are the points that I go off of. I try not to dive into something like, oh, could this be another subplot? Could this potentially be something else? I'm trying not to do that, and I really haven't stumbled across that too much because I do have one main plot and 6 subplots that I'm juggling, so I don't think it's necessary to discovery draft any more subplots. Now, will they happen? Probably. If they come up, we'll deal with them when they come up. But so far in the first 4 chapters, that has not been an issue. What I'm also doing too is it's a lot of telling, and I know that it's a lot of telling, so I think when I go back to do a second draft, I don't know if it'll be a full write. I might rewrite it in parts. We'll worry about that when we get there. But for this draft, I'm going through and I'm writing, obviously, I'm writing out the scenes, not in huge, thick, like lengthy detail, because I feel like right now that's not necessary since I'm still discovering the world and the characters and just trying to get an understanding of, you know, the world, the tone, everybody that's into it, and the magic and all that fun stuff. Not huge details of the scenes, of the characters, like descriptions and things like that, because that can be filled in later. If there's something that is a key thing about a character or a major plot point, I will make sure that it is written out and it's hit, so I know that when I'm going back later, I know that this is the part in the plot grid and this is the key points that are connecting the plot together. If I come across scenes, for example, like a fight scene, I haven't had one yet. It's a little too early in this story to have a fight scene, and I don't think there's gonna be any battles. That might be a lie. There might be 1 or 2 battles, but I haven't come across anything like that. But if I do, and you know, those scenes are pretty intricate, there's a lot of moving parts in battle scenes like that, I don't think that's something for a draft 1 problem. If I get to a scene like that, but what I have been doing is just writing 1 or 2 sentences or a paragraph describing the scene. This is what's happening, here are the characters that are in it, and this is what I want the outcome to be, and then I'm moving on. I'm trying to write it at a quicker pace, and that's kind of the reason why, mainly because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time working on the small little moving pieces of a fight scene right now. Throw it out there, fight scene, this is what happens, this is who dies, this is who's introduced, this is all of the gory details moving forward. It's been working. While I haven't had a fight scene exactly in the story, I have had scenes where I feel like something wasn't quite working, and I worked through it a little bit, got to a point where I felt comfortable enough to just be like, hey, not sure if this is working, this could be a possible solution moving forward. And I want to do things like that and give myself also those little heads up for the future. Is this going to be a second draft thing that I'm going to try to work through? And if I work through this next thing, is this going to affect the plot? How is it going to affect the plot? Do I need to backpedal a little bit and rework other things? I'm really loving how I'm doing this draft right now. Every time I go into one of these writing sessions, I know it's going to be a good one. I know I'm going to work through it, and we're not worried about the itty bitty details right now. And this is one of the things I love about a first draft, but no complaints from me right now. I really like how I'm handling this draft, and I feel a lot more confident going into this story and going into this draft. I do still think that there are some pretty big details in the story that I haven't figured out yet, and they haven't been addressed in the story. They will need to be things that are addressed in the story, but there are some things that I still just don't know, and that's okay. I'm okay with not knowing, but that was my long update. That's what's happening. That's what I'm focusing on with this draft. Let me know down in the comments if that's something that you focus on. What do you focus on? Also, let me know down in the comments if you're a plotter, if you're a pantser, if you kind of do a little bit of both. So good morning, friends. I did not obviously update you guys after my writing session with Kayla last night. So our writing session, we popped on, I think it was a little after 7 last night, and we stayed on and chatted, and we did a couple of writing sessions until 11 o'clock last night, and then I just went straight to bed. I wanted to come on and talk about the writing session that I had yesterday because I don't think it was my best writing session. I was very distracted. It had nothing to do with Kayla. She's a great motivator. She was getting a lot done and I'm so freaking proud of her. And I wish that last night I had had that same energy and that same motivation, but for some weird reason, I was very distracted when I was writing. And that doesn't happen often. Usually when I block off time to do writing and to get some sprints in, I usually don't have other outside things that are bothering me and kind of like pestering me. I mean, there's nobody to blame but myself because I could have put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but in the middle of we were about to start a sprint and my partner had come home from work. It was pretty late. It was like 8:30, I think. And so we'd been on for like an hour and a half for meeting up to do our writing session, Kayla and I. And so I went out there just to hang out with them for a little while because I hadn't seen them all day and really like all week. So I ended up hanging out with them for about 15, 20-ish minutes out of our 30-minute sprint. So I sat down to write. I ended up writing about 29 words. I didn't feel very proud of those words, but I was also distracted because my family kept texting and calling me all night. While they also did not know that I was writing, they did not know anything that had to do with writing and what my plans were for the night. So I don't fault them for that because they didn't know. And really, I should have just not been responding. There was a lot that was going on and it was very distracting. Kayla and I, we did a few more sprints and I just could not get into a good headspace last night. I still ended up writing 435 words. So it was still a decent chunk of words and they are what they are. I don't think that they were the best quality. I noticed that I couldn't get into a good headspace while I was writing. I decided to slow down my writing because I knew that this writing session wasn't going to be as productive. So instead of trying to go at my same regular pace, I did slow down a bit because it was a weird one. I just think it was a lot of outside things that were happening and were distracting me. And it was just a lot to handle. It was a lot to, yeah, this is just me saying that it wasn't the best writing session that I had last night, even though we were online for, 4 hours? And it was like I wrote 100 words an hour basically. And that's not me. I know I can do better than that. I'm not gonna beat myself up because it was a writing session. It is what it is. Sometimes we have those low days. I just know that the next time I do a writing session, I need to protect that time, which I normally do. So it was weird that it was all just happening last night. Like, it still just kind of frustrates me thinking about it. So that's why I felt like I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about the writing session that I had last night and how it really wasn't the best. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to chat with you guys about. I feel like this is kind of a bummer of a clip, but it's also real, you know? Like, not all of my writing sessions are great. Not all of my writing sessions are going to be high word counts, getting a lot done, and that's fine. I mean, we have the highs and the lows, and it just does suck when you have more of like the lower days, especially when, like yesterday, I had been doing other things all day to clear my schedule because I knew that I was going to be writing with Kayla, and I knew that it was going to be that certain amount of time that I was going to be blocked off, and I didn't have to worry about anything else, and I could just write, and that literally did not happen. It was incredibly frustrating. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't think I'm going to be writing today because I'm going to be going to a bookstore with my mother and we're going to go get lunch somewhere. I just wanted to talk about that failed writing session that I had yesterday. So I'll see you guys later and I hope you're enjoying the vlog. So here's the 5th update from the same spot. I finished my live stream with Sarah Sutton. We usually do late night writing sprints / midnight sprints together at least once a month on a Saturday, and we had our midnight stream and it ended a couple of hours ago. We always end up chatting way into the early morning. I know in my last clip I think I'd mentioned kind of struggling through with my writing sprints that I had with Kayla. I wanted to say that I had an amazing writing session today when Sarah and I did our stream. So we did two 30-minute sprints. In the first sprint, I did a little more than 800 words. And in the second sprint, I wrote 901 words. And I passed 10,000 words in the entire manuscript, which is freaking amazing. I'm so happy about that because I love hitting little milestones like 10,000 words, 15,000 words, 50,000 words. I love hitting those milestones. Just makes you feel so accomplished, you know? This writing session was so much better than the last one that I had. It was definitely a mindset thing. I know that there was a lot going on during like when I was sprinting with Kayla, I was thinking about a bunch of things, family, work, just not in a good headspace. But when I sprinted today, I mean, not much has changed in that department, but I just changed my mindset where I knew I was gonna go into this sprint, we were gonna have a good time. I wanted to do my best. I knew I had work that I had to do with the story. There were some key points that I wanted to hit in the plot, characters that I wanted to meet. They needed to get stuff done in the story. So I sat down and I did it. And I am very extremely happy that I was able to accomplish as much as I did in those two 30-minute writing sessions. I feel great about the writing. I am still on chapter 5. So this chapter has a little more than 2,100 words in it. I don't want my chapters to go over 2,500 words. So I think I need to wrap up whatever is happening at the end of chapter 5, wrap it up within the next couple hundred words, and then go ahead and start on chapter 6. So what happened in chapter 5, one of my characters lost something in chapter 1. She's just now getting it back. She needed to get it back because it's important to the rest of the story. It symbolizes something for her. It feels a little weird that it went missing in chapter 1 and then it has come back in chapter 5, but there's a point to it, and hopefully I can get that point across, but if not, it'll be okay. Doing my best. I feel like my dialogue between characters is decent. I still feel like dialogue is my weakest part of my writing when there's dialogue. I'm trying to be a little more mindful as to how characters would talk, and while those are things that are important, they're also things in a first draft I shouldn't get too hung up on. It's just something in the back of my mind that it's more of an exercise that I'm working on. Hopefully it's coming across like that. I'm feeling pretty good about this writing session and about the draft so far. I'm just tootling along now. That's all I have right now, and I will see you guys soon.